I've been a huge fan of SpongeBob for my entire life. I do agree that the newer episodes kinda stink, but the old episodes which were released before the first SpongeBob movie came out were very close to my heart. I used to love SpongeBob a lot, but ever since what happened to me a while ago, I haven't watched the show since. This all happened on October 4th, 2013. My parents were out shopping when I was home alone. I heard a loud knock at my door. When I opened it, I saw a kid with blue jeans and a black hoodie run into the woods in front of my house. When I looked down, I saw a small cardboard box. Curiosity just got the best of me and I decided to bring it in. When I opened it, there was a DVD in the box. When I put the box in, it brought me to a title screen which read, Squidward's Revenge. After that screen left, it brought me to an episode selection screen. This is what it looked like. Squidward's Revenge Part 1 Fired. Squidward's Revenge Part 2 The Accident. Squidward Revenge Part 3 The Hospital. Squidward Revenge Part 4 Revenge. Squidward Revenge Part 5 Alone. I didn't recognize any of these episodes, but curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to watch episode 1 first. When the episode started, it displayed the normal opening in the title screen. After the show started, it showed SpongeBob and Squidward working at the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs came in to them and said that he had just won $500,000 in the lottery. Mr. Krabs put the ticket in the kitchen and he said that he would cash it in at the end of the day. Both SpongeBob and Squidward seemed proud of Mr. Krabs as they thought that he would give them a raise. After that, it showed SpongeBob cooking fries in the deep fryer. Mr. Krabs came in and told him to take out the trash. As SpongeBob was leaving, he accidentally bumped the deep fryer and turned it up all the way. He didn't notice this. It showed the boiling grease bubbling up even more. It then showed Squidward walk up to the kitchen and deposit food to SpongeBob. When he walked in, he noticed the deep fryer slowly heating up, and he raced over to turn it off. Before he could get to it, the fryer burst into flames and destroyed Mr. Krabs' lottery ticket. The smoke alarm came on, and Mr. Krabs rushed inside the kitchen with a fire extinguisher. After he put the fire out, he was furious at Squidward as he thought that he was responsible for starting the fire. Squidward tried to tell him that he didn't do it, but Mr. Krabs wouldn't believe him. Just then, SpongeBob came back, realized what happened. He had blamed the incident on Squidward to avoid getting fired. Mr. Krabs believed SpongeBob and thus fired Squidward. The episode ended with Squidward walking away from the Krusty Krab. He looked rather sad. The first episode ended. It then went back to the title screen. Curious, I decided to watch the second episode, which was entitled The Accident. When the episode started, it displayed the normal openings and title screen. After the show started, it opened up with Squidward crying in his house. It then showed SpongeBob sitting on his bed with a guilty look and expression on his face. Gary had crawled up to him and he told Gary, "What have I done, Gary? I cost Squidward his job." He decided to bake Squidward a cake in hopes of cheering him up. He tried to give it to him, but Squidward just slammed the door on him as soon as he opened it. Later that night, Patrick made a bonfire with SpongeBob to help cheer him up. After Patrick threw a piece of paper into the fire, it caught fire and the wind carried it away. Neither SpongeBob nor Patrick noticed it because they left right afterwards to get buckets of water to put it out as they were done with it for the night. It showed the piece of paper float over to Squidward's house. Squidward had a grill outside his house with a propane tank inside of it. He also had firewood stacked next to it. The piece of burning paper landed on the bottom of the wood pile, and a fire started to grow quickly. It showed the propane tank heating up until it exploded. It blew a hole in Squidward's house and immediately caught his first floor on fire. Squidward noticed the sound as he was shaking in terror since he was trapped on the second floor, inside of his house. Patrick called 911 as SpongeBob was trying to get him to jump out of the window and onto a mattress. Squidward was too afraid to do it and he screamed at him, "This is all your fault!" Just then, the second floor to the house collapsed and Squidward fell onto the flames, which engulfed the first floor. The screen cut to black as the sounds of the fire engines was heard. The second episode ended. I know I should have just stopped watching at this point, but I was actually kind of interested to know what would happen next. I decided to watch episode 3, which was entitled The Hospital. When the episode started, it displayed the normal opening in the title screen, like the other two. And when it finally started, it showed Squidward lying in the hospital. He apparently had survived the fire and was in a full body cast and was on life support. A doctor walked inside the hospital and talked to Squidward. He said to him, "You're going to be okay." Unfortunately, the fire hurt you pretty badly. We tried to save as much as your face as we could." After he left, Squidward was talking to himself. He was talking about how much he wanted to get rid of SpongeBob, Patrick, and Mr. Krabs. The next several minutes consisted of him thinking of different ways he could get rid of them by. He was then imagining them dying in gruesome ways. The episode showed them getting burned alive, stabbed, skinned, beaten to death, eaten, suffocated, and lastly drowned, if that really made any kind of sense. Then, the episode showed more violent ways he was thinking about killing them. It showed him taking of sawing off their limbs, repeatedly sticking a barbed wire down their throat and their bodies until they died by blood loss. It then showed him stomping on their heads until you could see nothing but a pile of mush. And it just went on, and on, and on. And after the hallucinations were over, it cut back to Squidward laying in his hospital bed. The doctor came back in and one of them said, "We're ready to remove your bandages. We'll start with the one on your face." As soon as they took it off, it showed his face violently burned and damaged. Large parts of his face were missing and red marks were everywhere. However, just before the episode ended, I noticed that Squidward had a disturbed, sick, twisted smile on his face. I was very disturbed at what I had just seen. Someone else probably created these episodes, but they looked so much like the real show. I decided to watch the 4th episode, which was entitled Revenge. When the episode started, it displayed the normal episode and title screen. When the show started, it showed Mr. Krabs closing up the Krusty Krab late at night. He was the only one there. He was in his office when he had heard the doors opening. He called out, "Sorry, we're closed. Come back tomorrow." He got no answer. He heard footsteps walk by his office. He called out, "Is anybody there?" The figure then walked away from his door. When Mr. Krabs opened the door, he saw that the door to the kitchen was open and the light was on. Mr. Krabs slowly walked over to it while shaking in fear. When he looked inside of it, nobody was there. He breathed a sigh of relief. And when he turned around, Squidward grabbed him and held his face against the hot grill. Mr. Krabs screamed in agony. He then got the boiling grease from the deep fryer and spilled it on his head. He then threw him on the floor and began hitting him with a meat cleaver. Every time he hit him, more and more blood could be seen on Mr. Krabs. Eventually, Squidward hit him in the throat with it, and Mr. Krabs was coughing up blood. Squidward stomped on his face, which caused his head to explode. The next scene showed Patrick sitting in his home watching TV late at night. All of a sudden, the power went out. Patrick opened his rock, and Squidward grabbed him and threw him out. Patrick tried to run, but Squidward tripped him before he was able to. Squidward broke both of his legs and arms, and Patrick was screaming around the ground in pain. Squidward grabbed him, put his head inside of his house, and slammed the rock down onto his head. Patrick's neck broke, and he died. Squidward kept on doing it until blood was starting to spill everywhere. Eventually, his head was practically gone. Squidward then grabbed him, tore the rest of his head off, and threw him inside of his house. The scene cut to SpongeBob, who saw what had just happened to Patrick. He called the police, and they said that they'd be coming over soon. Suddenly, SpongeBob heard his front door open as Squidward stormed inside. Gary was shivering in fear. Squidward kicked down his bedroom door, immediately killed Gary by stomping on him, then looked at SpongeBob, who was now shaking in fear. Squidward proceeded to pull out a knife and began walking towards SpongeBob. SpongeBob said, "Please, you don't need to do this. I'm sorry for everything that happened to you. I promise I'll get you your job back." Squidward laughed at him and said, "Mr. Krabs is dead. It's too late for that." SpongeBob heard the police sirens. If you kill me, you'll go to prison." Squidward said, "I'm already going to prison. If I let you live, they won't reduce my sentence at all." SpongeBob said, "Well, if you kill me as well, you'll have a longer sentence." The police cars were seen zooming down the street. Squidward said, "If I let you live, I'll never be able to forgive myself for letting you survive. Goodbye, SpongeBob." Squidward darted at him and began stabbing him, and then grabbed SpongeBob and pushed him down the stairs. SpongeBob was just barely alive when he was at the bottom. Squidward walked over down the stairs and stood over him. The police cars were parked outside of SpongeBob's house, and a voice was heard which yelled, "Come out with your hands up!" Squidward stuck the knife into SpongeBob's skull, and he died. Squidward walked out of the house. "Drop your weapon!" one of the police officers yelled. Squidward continued to walk towards the two police officers. "I'm warning you," the police officer said. Squidward kept on walking towards them. The two police officers then opened fire on him. Their bullets had no effect, and Squidward jumped on one of them and broke his neck. The other police officers tried shooting at him, but the bullets weren't working either. And then they started running away. Squidward then threw the knife at them as hard as they could, and the knife cut off the officer's head, killing them instantly. Squidward walked over to the cop's dead body and took the knife out of his skull. When he did so, blood started squirting from his skull like a geyser. The final couple minutes showed Squidward killing all the other characters from the show, and then it showed him killing other people in the town. Then the episode ended. I was very freaked out after watching that episode, and even to this very day, I have no idea why I even chose to continue watching those episodes. I just wanted to see what would happen, and I didn't think that anything particularly bad like that would come out of it. I mean, sure enough, I knew that something bad was going to happen, but not to this extent. I decided to watch the fifth and final episode of this disc, which was titled Alone. When the episode started, the title sequence was different. The music was playing, but no vocals or any other characters could be seen. Also, at a few times in the episode, I saw some of the fish from the show. Their bodies were covered in blood and torn apart. When the show started, Squidward was walking alone in Bikini Bottom. Everyone in the city was dead. Squidward's face was still burned, and he still had a disturbing smile on his face. Also, remember those episodes when the show showed other cities like Rock Bottom or New Kelp City? It also showed shots of these cities. Everyone was also dead from those cities as well. It also showed different cities that weren't in the episodes. It showed other cities such as Blue Clam City, Pacific City, Dead Sea City, and Seahorse Countryside. Everyone in those cities were gone as well. There were many others, but these were the only ones that I could remember. Squidward must have gone on a complete rampage and annihilated every fish under the sea. It then cut to Squidward roaming the barren ocean. Eventually he stopped when he found a deep trench. He was saying some weird chant and fire started rising out of it. All of a sudden a large red creature rose from it. It looked like the devil. It said to Squidward, "You've done your job well." Squidward said, "I want to kill more creatures. I don't want to stop now. It's too much fun." The monster said, "I'll make a deal with you." Just as the demon was about to start explaining the deal to him, the episode ended. I ejected the DVD out of my TV and was shocked at what I had just found. When I looked out my window, I saw some kid in the black hoodie that delivered this to me, standing outside my house with his back turned. I decided to approach him and find out what in the world was going on. I walked out of my house and started approaching him. I said to him, "Dude, what the heck was that?" He didn't respond to me. I said again, "Hello, can you hear me?" He didn't respond to me again. I was right behind him at this point. I tapped him on the shoulder, and right as the second I did so, he spun around, and I saw that he was actually Squidward. I screamed in terror, and he grabbed my face with one of his tentacles. I wound up passing out. While I was out, I had a dream of him, and in that dream, he said to me, "I have chosen you to spare you for now, because I need to spread my message. I'm going to eviscerate everyone on the face of this earth someday. And if you don't spread the message to the public, I'll make sure you're the first one to go in less than a week." I woke up in my bed. The DVD was on my lap. As soon as I got up, my parents got home from the store. I didn't tell them or anybody else of what had happened to me since. Nothing weird has happened to me since that incident. The day after that, I submitted my story to as many sites as I could find. I made a few YouTube videos telling of what happened to me, and started a chain of emails in my school, which got super big. Nobody knows that I'm the one that did that. As for Squidward, I really don't know what else to say about him. I don't know when, if ever, he's ever going to destroy the world. I have been occasionally posting the story to other places around the web in the following months, in hopes of preventing him from destroying the world. This is also why I'm posting it here too. I don't know if it will work, but I think it might. Let's just hope for the best and we see it happens. As for the DVD, I still have it in my room, and I haven't watched it since then. And that, my little shadows, was Squidward's Revenge, a SpongeBob Lost Episode creepypasta. My final thoughts on the story? Alright, here's the thing about this creepypasta. I'm actually really impressed. Like, I'm genuinely very impressed with how the story went out. Now, for anybody wondering, this is on the Bad Creepypasta Fandom Wiki. So, obviously, it's not meant to really be taken seriously. And I know that some people might have a bit of a problem with the real-life Squidward popping up or whatever, but for some reason, this story was really amazing. I mean, maybe I can't completely classify it as a creepypasta per se, but I can't really classify it as being a troll pasta either. In all due sincerity, everybody, I have to admit, I'm impressed. Although, I don't exactly know what to really call this creepypasta, because, I mean, it's not a bad story. I mean, in retrospect, if you really think about it, and if you really think about the SpongeBob lore and everything, I mean, everything that went out in this creepypasta, I mean, specifically with the main episodes was, you know, something that I can genuinely say could happen in the show. Okay, maybe minus the demon stuff and everything, but still, I mean, the number one thing I can genuinely give this creepypasta, the biggest number one thumbs up, is the flow within the story itself and the storyline. I have to give props 100% to the author for really putting a lot of time and effort to really craft a good story. I mean, sure enough, it's still kind of ridiculous, especially more to the end, but even then, though, even the more ridiculous parts still flow very well within the creepypasta. I mean, this story caught my attention the very first startup of it. I mean, at first I thought this was just going to be a relatively bad creepypasta, but it wasn't. It was a very well-made one, and I'm shocked at that. I mean, especially, you know, given the actual storyline in the episode, people, that's really, really good. I mean, I gotta be honest here. The amount of love that was put into this story is impressive, to say the least. I mean, another thing I can genuinely say, too, about this story that I found to be really good was the fact that this is all in separate episodes. This isn't just one giant long episode. It actually has like a part to it, and then it skips down to another episode, and then so on and so forth until it finally ends. And I have to admit, the ending with, you know, the whole thing with Squidward sitting there and making a deal with the devil, so to speak, as a way to try and get revenge on everybody that's messed him up in life, I know that a lot of people might not particularly like the whole idea of the spooky demon cliche and everything, but for me, personally, I actually thought it made a lot of sense. I mean, think of it. You know, at first I was going to dock the story a bit for the fact that it incorporated, you know, an invincible Squidward. Then again, it is cartoon logic, so I guess it would get a pass on that end too, but, you know, getting the answers and everything for what happened in the end was, you know, genuinely something I found to be pretty good. I mean, and the ending being left on a cliffhanger, normally I have a problem with that. Well, I mean the ending of the episode specifically. You know, normally I don't like cliffhangers and stories, unless there's going to be another part made for it. But I think this actually does a lot of... I think it actually kind of fits well with this creepypasta, especially given the fact of the matter that, you know, Squidward ultimately was the one that made the deal with the monster to begin with. So of course it, you know, at least it explains everything that went on with the storyline. You know, with how Squidward was able to commit all that carnage as much as he did. And, you know, given the whole situation, it really doesn't take away from the characters' personalities. I mean, I will admit, you know, SpongeBob blaming Squidward for the action that, you know, was committed, you know, with the lottery ticket was kind of messed up, I will admit. But at least, you know, he wound up regretting it afterwards and tried to make up for it. So, in a sense, you know, the character SpongeBob, at least he's still in character. Same thing with Mr. Krabs as well, especially given the fact that That was like a $500,000 lottery ticket. I mean, I would lose my mind if somebody did that to a winning lottery ticket that I had. Like, genuinely speaking, I would. So, I mean, the idea of Mr. Krabs actually kind of going light on Squidward and just firing him is, well, again, you know, at least we know that Mr. Krabs in the story had at least some restraint. You know, because knowing how money-grubbing and greedy that guy is, it could have went by so much worse in retrospect. Another thing that I can also compliment the story on as well with the concept is that, you know, the whole reactions of, you know, the whole issue, anybody who's watched SpongeBob will know that Squidward is a very unfortunate and unlucky character. Then again, Squidward is more or less a caricature of people like us, you know, adult fans of the show. You know, he's ultimately the main caricature of what adult life really is. I mean, hating your job, you know, not wanting to bother doing anything, not having time to really work on your own passions and hobbies like Squidward does. I mean, and everything kind of going wrong more often than not, instead of the good sides. People, that's exactly how adulthood is. So the whole thing that went on with Squidward throughout the whole thing, all this misfortune that he wound up suffering through in this episode, I actually have to say it's not really that out of place when it comes to an episode of SpongeBob, especially given the whole burns and everything. So it would be completely understandable why he would finally snap and take out his anger on everybody. I mean, it genuinely is. And it's really unfortunate that Squidward had to go through all of that. Now, I can't say I condone what he wound up doing in the end, but then again, when you're blind with rage, you do things that you would never even think of doing. That's just basically how our psyche goes in. And that's another thing I can genuinely commend the story for as well, is that the reactions of Squidward and everything are very believable and realistic. The idea of him sitting there and snapping literally at everybody and just like going into a blind fury kind of rage and everything for what happened to him, you know, it was bound to happen. And anybody who's gone through all that through years of their life like Squidward did, it was only a matter of time. And again, it's another strong point with the story. And him sitting there and thinking violent kind of thoughts and things like that. Come on, people, we've all had those kind of thoughts. Every one of us have had that. I mean, unless you really, you know, are innocent in that manner, we've all had those kind of crazy thoughts. I have, you have, we've all had it. But we've never acted on them. But Squidward, yeah, he does that. And again, I also can say that, you know, the way that the deaths themselves were proportioned throughout the episode, throughout the creepypasta episode as well, was also pretty good too. You know, because of the fact that I think that, well, granted, maybe it really wasn't in a complete order, but at least he went after Mr. Krabs first, and then wound up going after Patrick afterwards, and then going after SpongeBob, you know, before going after Gary, and pretty much everybody else. So again, in retrospect, it's believable that he would kind of go in that direction, although I think that it would have been a little bit easier for him to kind of do it, you know, throughout. I guess he probably did it in order of severity, but then again, this is a creepypasta. I guess I'm probably over-analyzing it a little bit, and I apologize if people don't like that. But getting back to the review, you know, it was really, the episode concept itself was really good. Now, I will admit, the random pictures that are thrown into this is kind of unnecessary, to be honest. And that's like my only gripe with the... And it doesn't even have anything to do with the story. It's just random pictures and GIFs and things like that. That's all it really is. So it doesn't take away from the story, but it is extremely random and just there for the sake of being there. I guess they're probably there as a way to try and provide some form of visualization throughout the whole story, but honestly, for me, it just doesn't exactly work. Now, do I have any particular gripes with this creepypasta? To be 100% honest with all of you, I don't really have too much of a gripe other than, I mean, the whole unrealistic aspect of, you know, the ending. With, you know, the real Squidward and things like that, you know, going on and, you know, claiming that the protagonist has only a week to sit there and live unless, you know, we post everything, and I guess I'm probably helping the guy out by doing this. By narrating. So, I mean, there's that. And genuinely, I kind of... And granted, I know this is on the Bad Creepypasta Wiki. It's not meant to be taken seriously, but if that part would have been revised or something on that matter, then I actually think that this would have been a really good creepypasta, to be honest. But still, it's there, and there's not really much we can really do on that matter. But it's still a very good, well-made creepypasta by Brianberta. Yes, that is the name of the author who created this wonderful story. And I have to say, to you, author, you did a very good job with this creepypasta. I have to completely admit to you, I have to admit to that. You did a good job with them. Very, very, very good job. But of course, like I always say with these creepypastas, like I will always say, this is simply my own personal opinion, and if you disagree with it, that's perfectly fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of the story would have to be a 9.5 out of 10. Really good, interesting creepypasta story, very believable in regards to the characters, even the blood, gore, and other cliches and everything that were included with it, I actually think kind of worked well with the story rather than, do any kind of harm. And if for some reason this was made as a way to not be taken seriously or anything, I don't think it really did too well on that one because it was still a relatively enjoyable and, in a sense, a believable lost episode creepypasta. I mean, even with the whole ending and everything being kind of ridiculous, I don't think it really did a whole lot to damage the story. But of course, though, what did you guys think about this creepypasta? Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys not? And also, what would you have personally done to help make the story a lot better? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. I'm the Shadow Reader. Thanks again for watching today's episode, and if you're brand new here to this channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. And like always, roll the outro because I'm out.
In fear and surprise as your eyes widen, your mouth goes dry with each battered breath. You try to scream, your mind begs to leave, glued to your computer screen. The killers they slash, the tapes burn and crash. The cartridge you bought will be your final haunt. The rituals of hate will seal your fate. The tears you shed will be from the fear-gripping horror-driven nightmarish gore-filled, terrorizing, hateful, burning, violent, rage-inducing, knife-slashing, blood-splattering, silent screams. Only time will tell if you will escape this online hell. Your horror-filled obsessions will come with its own regressions. Your pathetic screams will not be heeded in any way, because your nightmares will come at any day.